Chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. What profit hath he that works in that? He labors. I have seen the task which God has given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. He hath made everything beautiful in its time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, yet so that man cannot find out the work that God hath done from the beginning, even to the end. I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to get pleasure so long as they live, but also that every man should eat and drink, enjoy pleasure, for all his labor is the gift of God. I know that whatsoever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God has so made it that men should fear before him. That which has been long ago, and that which is to be hath already been, and God seeks that which is pursued. And moreover, I saw under the sun in the place of justice, that wickedness was there. In the place of righteousness, that wicked was there. I said in my heart, the righteous and the wicked God will judge. For there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. I said in my heart, it is because of the sons of men, that God may sift them, and that they may see that they themselves are but as beasts. For that which befalls the sons of men befalleth beasts, even one thing befalleth them, as the one dies, so dieth the other. Yes, they have all one breath, so that man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. All go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all return to dust. Who knows the spirit of man, whether it goes upward, and the spirit of the beast, whether it goeth downward to the earth? Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Once again, we have the words of the Ecclesiastes, or the one who gathered up these pleasant words, and he's kind of making an argument that there's really nothing better than to enjoy the fruit of your work and that which you've done. You want an apple, plant an apple tree, and you will enjoy the fruit of it the more. Why? Because you did that which it took to get the apple. You took the seed, planted it, nurtured it, waited for that which was to come, and received it. And that is a blessing for your labor, and such is the same as when we observe the ordinances and statutes of the Lord. We are going to pick it up here in verse 1. It's to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And everything, there's a season. It's like a circle. It just keeps going around and around and around. And these things that operate in their seasons or their periods of time, and it's a time for every purpose. Everything that there is a purpose. Winter has a purpose. It's necessary to bring forth the new growth. Has a purpose. That's necessary for the fruit to be able to continue. There's a time to rest, and we'll find out as we continue. A time to be born, a time to die. There's a time where the babies are born. There's a time where the old people die. It has a purpose. It's for a renewing, a new beginning, a restart, and over and over and over it goes. A time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted. There's a time to put the seed in the ground, and then there's a time, a season, a period of time where it comes to pluck up that which is planted or to gather in the harvest. 3, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up. There's a time to kill. This is not a good thing, but if somebody's trying to kill you, that's a good time to do that. It's a time to heal, a time of this wounding that was done, a time to bandage or dress the wound. There's a time to break down. Maybe it's time to put something new in, to change it, to modify, a time to build up and to restore, a time to weep, a time to laugh. There's a time for crying, it's a time for laughing. All things in its season. There's a time of mourning, time of dance. Just like that's when we would weep, was when this periods of mourning, and these periods of rejoicing, as we'll find out, as birth. 5, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. Once again, a time to cast away stones, prepare a place to lay the stones where you gather them together and stack them up. A time to embrace, there's a time to refrain from it. We find there's a time, it's a time to draw close, or a time to distance ourselves from one. And often this is periods where they distance themselves on their own. 6, a time to seek, a time to loose, a time to keep, a time to cast away. There's a time to look for something you've lost, and there's a time where that period it's lost. There's a time to keep it, and then there's a time to cast it away when it's served its purpose, and that's what it's all about. Everything has a purpose. 7, there's time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, a time to speak. There's a time to rip it, tear it. We'll find out. It has another purpose now. A time to sow, a time to maintain its purpose, a time to keep silence. There's a time to speak. And sometimes we're waiting to speak, and sometimes it's just better that if we wouldn't. 8, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, a time for peace. There's a time to love, it's in its seasons, and a time to hate. This is another thing. If everything was fine, there should be no hate. But there is hate for those that oppress. Time for war. There's a time when men make war, and a time for peace, and there's a time to stop the killing. 9, and the hatred. 9, what profit has he that works in that he labors? For what profit is there? Everything goes to the drought. You're going to die anyway. We'll find out. We've learned that. There's what profit are you getting out of it? 10, I have seen the task which God has given to the sons of men to be exercised therewith. But here the task is. A task is something that has to be accomplished. The travail, I believe the King James Version says, it's inyan, and it's an occupation, it's a task, it's a job, it's something you got to do, it's your duty. Or this that you've got to do. I mean, it's not much more than a squirrel gathers his nuts, has to do. But what profit does he get? 11, he hath made everything beautiful in its time. He has set the world in their heart, yet so that man cannot find out the work that God has done from the beginning, even to the end. And he has made everything, the Lord did. And it's beautiful. Everything's beautiful. He has set the world in their heart. A man can't consider everything. He doesn't have the ability. He won't be here long enough. He can't find out what God has done from the beginning even to the end. because it has a period of time, and the Lord, his period is eternal. 12, I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to get pleasure as long as they live. And really, there's nothing better for mankind, to rejoice and get pleasure as long as they live, for every day. There's nothing better. But we'll find out there's problems. We have problems in the earth that have to be done away with in order to achieve this. 13, but also that every man should eat, drink, and enjoy pleasure, for all his labor is the gift of God. And it's also that every man should eat, drink, enjoy his pleasure of his labor, whatever his labor may be. All his good works is what it should be, for no wicked way should prosper. But this is a gift of God, that from God, that whatever he should get the reward of his labor, just like the apple tree you planted. 14, I know that whatsoever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it, and God has so made it that men should fear before him. And everybody should come to that understanding, because that's what God did. There's no more, no less water than there ever was. That's just the way it is. There's no more, no less earth than there ever was. That's just the way it is. Everything has a balance. Everything has an equal and opposite. That's just the way it is. And that's the way the Lord made it. And man can't change nothing. He thinks he can sometimes with his trying to get the reins of mankind and steer people. It's called law and ordinances, statutes. That's the way the Lord does it. But the Lord has a different way of working. We'll find out. And it's from the work that the reward comes. 15. That which has been long ago, and that which is to be already been. And God seeks that which is pursued. Everything's done happened before. It's over and over and over. Oh, you may be using a little slightly different device to do it, but there's nothing changed. It's all the same thing. The understanding's still there, the knowledge, the intent. And it's all going to go around in its circle. Everything has its circle, just like it's written in the past of what happened long ago. Today shall be written in the past of what happened long ago. It all goes around. It's just a circle. Time is a loop. And God seeks that which is pursued, and that which is pursued is perfection. 16. And what? 16. And moreover I saw under the sun, in the place of justice, that wickedness was there. In the place of righteousness, that wicked was there. And moreover I saw under the sun. It wasn't easy to hide. It was like high noon, and there it was. Sun's got everything lit up. There's light. There's understanding. This place of justice. That's where we go to get justice. That's the courts. That's the places of judgment. We could say that. These places that have been exalted for that purpose, or lifted up for that purpose, established for that purpose, any way you want to look at it. There's wickedness there. There's perversion. There's distortion. There's evil in it. This place of righteousness, the wicked was there. A place of righteousness is supposed to be one place, but the Lord said, don't put your places everywhere. But they do anyway. And these are the place of righteousness, I guess some refer to, and they think, yeah, there's wicked there. The wicked's there. Started as soon as they started putting them everywhere, and the Lord said, you shouldn't do that. 17. I said in my heart, the righteous and the wicked God will judge. For there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. And I said in my heart, this good enough for me, that the righteous and the wicked both, the Lord judges. I know he's true, and in time to come that this is made known, the wicked are put down. There's a time for every purpose. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a season. Everything has a time. Every work has a purpose. It's documented. We can read it. We have the full circle. 18. I said in my heart, it is because of the sons of men that God may sift them, that they may see that they themselves are but as beasts. I said in my heart, that my own understanding, it's because the sons of men, it's because of these that go forth from men, their sons, that which is born from them. God may sift them. Sift them, just like you would pass it through and shake it out to get out the good and let the bad fall through, that they may see themselves are but as beasts. And from one generation to another it continues, that man might see you, just like the beasts upon the earth. In the beginning, Adam looked through all the animals of the earth, and he said to the Lord, I'm not like them. I'm not like them. And God created woman. 19. For that which befalls the son of men befalls beasts. Every one thing befalls them. As the one dies, so dieth the other. Yes, they have all one breath, so that man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all his vanity. For that which befalls the son of men, just like any other animal, befalls the beast. Just you're going to die like anything else. There's one thing that befalls all. As one dies, so dies the other. There's no difference in you than any other thing else in the earth. Like I said, just like squirrels gather nuts, they have all one breath. You breathe air just like the air breathers. So that man has no preeminence above the beast. There's no preeminence. Nobody, you can't be better than anything else. You die like everything else. You're born like everything else. You have a season like everything else. All is vanity. It's all a waste. Of course not. 20. All go unto one place. All are of dust. All return to the dust. Sure. Everything lives. Everything dies. Everything has the chance. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. That's the work of the Lord. Try to match it. Try to make everything beautiful and wonderful and great. 21. Who knows the spirit of man, whether it goes upward, and the spirit of beast, whether it goes downward to the earth? For who knows? As you've been over there and found out and come back, want to tell everybody? Has anybody else done it? Everybody that dies stays that way. If it wasn't good, they'd probably come back. The spirit of beast, nobody knows what happens to it either. We can watch, but both goeth one way, from the dust to the dust. 22. Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better, that a man should rejoice in his works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? That's why I perceive that there's nothing better than a man should just rejoice in his works. Be happy with what you do. And you should be always happy and content with your decisions. This is what your works are. It's what gives you your works is your decisions you make in life. Your portion will come from your works. If you work, we find out you have more. A lot of times, there's a slight imbalance in things, though, we find out in society, but we have to look forward to the day when these things are not so. We know that surely, sooner or later, everybody should wake up. Because who's going to take you and show you what's going to be after this world, after this life? We feel in our heart, we feel that there's something else, but no one's ever been there and come back to say, yeah, it's there. But the Lord has caused us to hope, and we look forward to a generation that is righteous and just, or equal in all things. And this generation is our hope, that we dwell with them. But we have to teach our children the ordinances and statutes of the law itself, of what keeps and makes things good. The difference between good and bad, basically, is what it is. Let's move forward. Ecclesiastes, chapter 4. Turn and return.